What's going on, everybody? I am Perry White. I'm the host of the Jaguar Journal. I want to make sure that you guys tune in live each and every Saturday morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on 107.3 FM. We also have our affiliates in Alexandria, Louisiana, as well as down in New Orleans. And if you're not able to catch us on radio live, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel as well as follow us on Facebook. It's the Jaguar Journal.
Opinionated, outspoken, informative. The Jaguar Journal. Your source for the latest information on Southern University sports and SWAC athletics. A Baton Rouge sports talk tradition.
What's going on, everybody? I am Perry White. I'm the host of the... All right, bright and early on a Saturday morning. Good morning to everybody. It is the Jaguar Journal. I'm Perry White. Very special guest here in the studio this morning. Got the mayor president of East Baton Rouge, Sid Edwards, and, of course, the district attorney, Hiller Moore. Good morning, fellas.
Morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
It ain't too early for y'all, is it?
Oh, I've been at work since early this morning, so no.
No?
For me, yes, it's too early, but I'm down. I'm up. I'm ready.
Come on now, coach. You're supposed to be you the first one on the field, first one in the building, right?
Last one on the field.
Well, good morning, fellas, and good morning to everybody out there listening on 107.3 FM. Glad to have you guys out there and everybody watching and listening on our YouTube and Facebook. Good morning. And we got you guys in the studio. What you guys want to talk about this morning?
Well, for me, Hiller, we know we got something on the ballot 1 week from today, and we today's the last day early voting, so our Thrive initiative. So whenever you're ready, we'll talk a little bit about that and maybe a couple of things going on in our parish.
So let's talk about the Thrive initiative and basically what's on the ballot for people to vote on, and what is it if somebody out there does not know any information, to fill them in on that information.
Sure. Well, they could always go to brla.gov. A lot of information on that website. But Thrive is when we go to the ballot, when we go to vote, there's going to be nothing with the word Thrive in it when you pull the curtain back. It's Proposition 1, which is a rededication, reallocation of some library funds. Proposition 2, mosquito abatement, and Proposition 3, the Council on Aging. And basically, those three entities came together with our administration to put this package together to help the parish out. So it's not a new tax. I keep bellowing it. It's not a new tax. This is a rededication of what people are already paying. And what's crazy is all 12 council members signed off on it. All the mayors in the parish, all 5 mayors signed off on it. The Democratic Party of Baton Rouge endorsed it, and the Republican Party endorsed it. The AFL-CIO, BRPD, the fire department, the district attorney, every endorsement I can get has been endorsed. And the way it rolls, it could fail 60-40, just like that. And I think part of it is a lot of people are cautious. They're not trustworthy. To tax is a bad word. Here again, not a new tax, but what this does is it rededicates those funds and gives some of the funds to the general fund, in which will help the whole parish on other issues. We in a bind. With St. George breaking off, we got a big deficit, and this helps offset it for our day-to-day things we need for the parish.
And let me ask you this: how did we get here to this point? Because there has to be pros and cons that people out there as citizens and voters that are talking to you about it. And give us some of those pros and cons of what you're hearing of citizens who trust it and some citizens who don't trust it.
Yeah, from the trust part, it's, I think, the people who are in the know that. I mean, I put my budget out this week.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm not no mean guy. I'm a nice guy, and it hurt my heart.
Says the coach, right?
Yeah, that's it. It hurt my heart to present that thing because it represents lost jobs,
mm-hmm.
and I don't want that. But this is no one person's fault. This goes back 15, 20, 25 years of kicking the can down the road on some things, borrowing here, borrowing there. And of course, with St. George pulling out, that's a really big deal. That left a huge void, because when they pull out, their tax money pull out too. So this initiative here helps us close the gap. If all three pass, we'll get $52 million to pay off our debt. And that will give me a recurring revenue of $9.2 million a year. That's the note we pay. That'll leave about $24 million, which will plug the hole where St. George left out. Come down to about $4.5 million, and I'm going to focus that on infrastructure, stormwater, drainage, and that type of stuff in the parish. Now, I don't want to paint the picture that this Thrive initiative paves the streets of Baton Rouge in gold, okay? It just keeps our head above water. Now, the negative side of it, there are some people who they don't believe the library should get any more money, that they got $140 million in the bank and they're bellowing about that. Then you got on the other side some folks who are saying, why are you stealing the library's money?
Are you stealing the library's money?
Not at all.
Okay.
I was looking at it, but I'm messing. But we came to the table. The library knows.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone knows, because here's the deal. If the library Prop 1 passes,
mm-hmm.
the library doesn't lay anyone off. They don't close any branches. The hours remain the same. The services remain the same. They the best group probably in town in terms of being good stewards of their money. They'll save and they'll buy cash. They've done a great job. But no, they're a partner with us in this. It's important. And what people got to understand, if it don't pass, the general fund and the city parish won't be helped, but then the library themselves won't get their money.
Mm-hmm.
Now they could circle back in a year and try again, but no, not stealing their money. This is all these entities coming together for a greater Baton Rouge and working as a team.
Well, let me do this, because you said with the budget that you put out, it was about a $1.1 billion budget that had to be reduced, because you said a $50 million revenue loss because of the city of St. George. So that's going to cut jobs here. And those jobs that are going to be cut are going to be directly affected within your office of the district attorney. Talk about that and where you're looking at moving forward with the potential of those jobs being lost.
Yeah, good question. So before I endorsed Thrive, I met with Mary Stein with the library.
Mm-hmm.
And Mary's a very vocal person, and she's going to tell you what she feels straight up. And so I met with her. She said, we are totally behind this. We do have money in reserves. And what she said was, the city parish government is the entire body. The library is an arm. Council on Aging is an arm. Without that body, my arm is not going to be very good. So without the city parish government being whole and able to do what they have to do, then I'm not good. So I am good with giving some of my reserve money to the city parish government. They have a millage. It's dedicated. It's coming to an end. It's time for them to renew it. Same with Council on Aging. Same with mosquito abatement. If this fails, then they have no more money that's coming in, but they do have a surplus. They see now, because of what's happened, what this mayor's inherited, to give this money to him to help with the deficit. And as you know, he issued his budget this year, and it calls for all the constitutional offices, mainly the district attorney and the courts, us too, to be cut by 11%. And as you know, I just went out for a tax and lost 60-40, and I was trying to just be even with Orleans and Jefferson. That would have really raised me 8 million to 10 million more a year. And the money that the city parish would have given to me, we suggested to the mayor and the council, and I think they would have done it, to give that money to the public defender to make us even. Not even, but make us close to where we should be. It did not did not pass. And so now we're facing another 11% cut. We can't cut anymore. And just this week, I've had 2 murder victims' mothers come in and say, why is my case being delayed again? It's been 2.5, 3 years. When am I going to get justice? And they're saying, I'm on my 3rd assistant DA. I lost 30 in a year and a half. It's because they can't afford to keep them. And so without this money, we're drowning. We're now going to be below water without this tax passing. And then it's going to affect more victims of violent crime, which are those that are the most affected. And so we stand behind Thrive. We understand there's some opponents to it saying just redo your whole government cut. That is easy to say, but right now we need the money right now. And then we can find other ways to better ourselves. And, we talked about Thrive, and maybe we talked about this last time we were here. We also have to deal with this parish prison and the juvenile detention center, which is big money numbers. So this is only really getting us started in one direction. So city council have been great working with the mayor, and I totally support this. I understand people's reservations about anything that's called a tax. And he's true. When you look at it, when you go to vote, he'll say nothing about Thrive, nothing about who's going to get the money, what it's going to do. Just says it's a renewal. And some of this money that's in the bank already will just be transferred to city parish government, will be adjudicated by the mayor and the city council at their direction. And everybody will have a chance to say, Mayor, I need X amount of money to kind of get me to where I need to survive. And hopefully that will happen.
Let's do this, Mike. Let's get ready to take a break, and we're going to come back. We're going to have more with the mayor, Sid Elwitz, and District Attorney Hiller Moore. I'm Perry White. It's the Jaguar Journal. We'll be right back.
Michael Schatt, linebacker number 7. Michael Schatt. Linebacker number 7. Left quarterback number
All right, everybody, we're back. It's the Jaguar Journal. I am Perry White. Good morning to everybody out there listening on 107.3 FM across the Baton Rouge capital city area. And everybody watching on our Facebook and YouTube live, good morning to you guys. Very special guest in the studio this morning. We have the Mayor President Sid Edwards, as well as District Attorney Hilla Moore. You know, before we went to the break, you were talking about how your office is being affected in terms of some of these cuts. But you were talking, Mayor, about the idea of the positives and the negatives to what's on the ballot with this Thrive for people that don't truly know, because you talked about this $1.1 billion budget that's on the table that had to be reduced because of a $50 million revenue loss because of St. George becoming the city or township that it is. But give us an idea going back on that negative. I know you have a couple more things about what people are feeling towards the Thrive that's going to be on the count for voters.
Yeah, well, for starters, when we say 1.1 billion, it's really not.
Mm-hmm.
Like the budget that our council and my team have to work with is about 320 million. The other 700, 800 million is in silos. It's dedicated. You know, it may be the library, mosquito, council on aging. So it's really a $300 million budget. And when you get a $50 million, shortfall, it's tough. But and also another negative is people keep thinking it's a new tax. It's not a new tax. Now, in transparency, when you look at the millage bumped up a little bit, and there's a plan in time to roll it back. So if an individual owns a $200,000 home,
Mm-hmm.
they would pay, versus what they're paying right now on their taxes, they would pay like $13 more a year. A year would be the difference. But it's not a new tax. Then I got the opposition. Some people naturally don't feel like the library should give up any money. Some people feel they should give it up all. It's not like running a campaign just for me or Hiller, because the one side wants this, the other side wants that. I had one man tell me, hey, I'm for it if you don't cut no jobs. Then I got the other side that says if you cut 300 jobs, you ain't even got to do this.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard. But I can tell you the biggest opposition is people that there's a trust historically with government. But then let's call it what it is. If this passes, it would be historic. It's never made it out of council till now. And I can't put it no other way. There are people out there that this is strictly political, and Sid Edwards can't get a win.
Mm-hmm.
Because, in other words, people are campaigning right now for 3 years from now, right? They can't give me this win. But what I'm here to tell the people, I'm for the people, okay? And I even make deals. I'll tell you what, we'll make a deal right now. If you would go out there and pass it, somebody else could be the mayor, because then I know the people's taken care of, and I'll become the head football coach at Southern. I'll sign that deal right here.
Come on
morning.
now.
Hey, look, we on it right now.
Are you really working out deals this morning,
You
huh?
see that, huh?
I'm gonna be the second base coach at LSU.
So let's talk about it now with your office and how this all ties in. You talked about losing support and staff in terms of your office, but moving forward, what does your office look like in the process, even with St. George now being in the mix?
I think another part of the discussion besides this Thrive is, and the mayor and I met this week, I think we have to have a discussion with all the other incorporated areas, Baker Central, Zachary, St. George, about their paying their proportional share for the constitutional offices, the courts, the district attorney, the public defender. Although they're not a constitutional office,
Mm-hmm.
they should be on equal footing with us. And at this point, they do not pay taxes toward those offices. It really rests on the shoulders of the city of Baton Rouge, although we serve the entire parish.
So Baton Rouge citizens are footing the bill for all of the surrounding so-called townships or areas around
Incorporated
areas around.
And it started, Perry, with like Baker many, many years ago. Baker's very small.
Mm-hmm.
And the mayor then, drawing a blank, said, look, you guys are small. You don't worry about it. And then Zachary came along and it was like, all right, you small, no problems, no crimes, really don't worry about it. Then Central came, it was like, oh God, now we have 3 cities that are not paying. And then St. George comes along, which is a really big number. And actually they did have in their budget $1.9 million as a line item for the district attorney. And then all the way to the end until they looked around and said, wait a minute, look at everyone else's budget. They have no line items for any constitutional officer. So why should we pay?
So
But
how did we end up there? How did we end up to that point?
just over years of saying it's okay, you don't have to pay. And so I really believe that speaking with most of the mayors, just about all of the mayors, they agree and understand they use constitutional offices and they
Mhm.
should pay. The question is how much, and then they're going to have to sell it to their voters that hey, we do owe this because we use their services, whether it's in Baker itself or Zachary itself, or when they come to Baton Rouge and something happens to them and they get involved in the system. So that's a discussion that we have had, but I think the mayor is going to step it up and have those conversations with those mayors. And if we're able to receive that amount of money, then I think we're going to a much better place than we are right now. And so we may not be having the discussion of having to lay people off, and we could add folks and fully staff people. And that murder trial that takes 5 years could be 1 year.
Let me ask
And
you this, because you said how much and you left that question out there. In a Hill or more perfect world, how much
so how much?
would it be? Would you want from all of those areas to be able to
Oh.
go to your office if
So
you would
for
like
me-
to answer that?
For me to be on par with Orleans and Jefferson from the budget that I have now, that comes from a little bit from the state, mainly from the city, and then grants, I would need $8 to $10 million more per year.
And where are you at currently for citizens out there who do not know?
I'm at 16,000.
Okay.
16 million. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So I would need 8 to 10 more. And I think that St. George had as a line item 1.9 million. So that's a significant number.
Hmm.
And other cities do similar, which we know Baker can't. We have to discuss that. That puts me where I need to be and puts me on par, hopefully, with Jefferson and Orleans. And my budget at 14 or 16 compared to Jefferson's at 24. I had 102 murders last year. They had 18. They have 75 assistant DAs. I have 50. Which office do you want to be in?
Mm.
It's a big difference. So, but right now it's the stress on these ADAs. They just can't take anymore. And when they hear the news, we're cut 11%. The question was, who's going to cut? And it's like what we've done is when the mayor announced a year ago, hey, looks like we're going to have to make cuts. We just did not fill positions. So we were prepared for the mayor to tell us some amount, didn't know what it was. So we were good stewards with keeping what we had and just not filling spots, but that leaves big old openings that we want to fill now.
For everybody out there listening this morning, we have the Mayor President Sid Edwards. They still call you Coach?
Still Coach.
And then we have District Attorney Hiller Moore. Let's get ready to take a break. I got to stay on time, fellas, as you know.
Yeah.
And when we come back, we'll continue the conversation of talking about the East Baton Rouge Parish, the District Attorney's Office, and everything that's going on within our city government. So you guys stay tuned. We'll be right back. More of the Jaguar Journal. right, everybody. We are back. It is the Jaguar Journal. Good morning to everybody. I'm Perry White. Good morning to everybody out there listening on Talk 107.3 FM radio waves across the Baton Rouge, capital city area, and everybody watching on our Facebook and YouTube live. Very special guests here in the studio. We got the power in the studio. That's what I call it. That's the power. Hiller Moore, the district attorney, and Sid Elwitz, the mayor president. Mayor, I'm going to go to you real quick because I just saw something here in the news, and I'm not sure if you want to talk about it or not, but you just named a chief administrative officer. It seems like it's a little backlash that's coming with that a little bit, isn't it?
Oh, no, look, every time I turn left and right, there's backlash coming from everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, what happens is I hired Miss Slaughter, Dr. Slaughter, to conduct a search for, a new CAO. I had an interim, and the plan from the beginning was for Charlie Davis to be interim, and he served that out. So we hired, if I'm going to look for coaches, I can find them. But if I'm going hiring a CAO, it's really not my jam. So I said, I'm going to hire a company. And we bring Dr. Slaughter in, and she's been with me almost 2 months now. Mm-hmm. It's hard to believe. And I've just been watching her. I've been observing, seeing the spaces she's in and the work she's doing and how hard she's working and how smart she is and resourceful. So I just brought her in and I said, Dr. Slaughter, would you consider being my CAO? And she said, well, I'd have to think about that. She came back and said she would. I said, well, bam, you it. National search. Look, here's the deal on the national search. Mm-hmm. If Pete Goldsmith, who used to be the mayor of Indianapolis and deputy mayor of New York, world renowned, he'd want it, sure, I'll go grab him. But sometimes we overdo this national search stuff sometimes. Mm-hmm. But that was the plan. That's what we were going to do. But, you go get someone to be your CAO, and they from Wyoming, and they don't know the difference. They don't know where Highland Road is. They don't know where Winnebago is. They don't know where to get their Krispy Kreme donut. There's something to be said about someone who's local, and not only local. I'll tell you what, she'll run the boots off anybody else I could have got. That's how confident I am in this woman. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you that right now. But the backlash is, she's on people are going to dig and find stuff or whatever. And, but that's the optic that I hired someone to do a search and they hired themselves. Mm-hmm. That's not the case. We've been so busy with other fires and the budget and other type stuff. I was in no hurry to get one, to tell you the truth. But when she said yes, I was very happy. So controversy that. I'm happy to have the lady I got.
Let me ask you this, because for anybody that's out there, of course, I don't think a lot of people, when I have conversations, truly understand what's happening now with this break off of St. George and with Baton Rouge still here. And it seems that the Baton Rouge taxpayers are footing a bill for St. George. But for you, since you've been into office, what has this up until this point looked like for you as the mayor president here in East Baton Rouge?
Well, it's quite a challenge. I walked into it, stepped right into it, and it changes things. It's like Hiller was talking about the constitutional offices. We have a meeting with all the mayors. We're going to Mayor Waite's place out in Baker this week, and we're going to talk about those deals in terms of helping fund that. But at the same time, St. George is now starting to take over more and more of their own services. They're getting their feet up under them, and they'll be cutting their own grass. Like I even saw a little traffic unit they paying for to handle, minor traffic accidents. And they go get their feet under them and they're going to get going. So it's not like Baton Rouge proper is just feeding them money. They've been tax paying citizens also. So there's been the transition, into it. And look, I want all parts of our whole community to thrive and do well. Excuse the pun, thrive. But I know
I see what you did there.
Yeah, you see it. But I keep coming back to it. People are tired. Mm-hmm. People are tired. People are tired of the crime and the drugs and the trash and the blight. And let's call it in Baton Rouge. They are the haves and the have-nots. And I am almost 1 year in. And I've been on defense almost 97% of the time. Like people asking me about this CAO or whatever the latest contract. I've been on defense. I want to play offense. Mm-hmm. And
what does that look like for you, playing offense, being in that position?
Go and make stuff happen, man. Look, I've got some good stuff done. I'm lighting Baton Rouge up. Okay. I lit the Plank Road corridor up. I lit Goodwood. When I say that sounds selfish. With my team and energy and the council and everybody, we lit Goodwood Boulevard up. We hitting downtown. We're going to Old South Baton Rouge. That's the next stop in Brookstown. We're cleaning the place up. We're trying to get all the trash up. Our crime is down in every statistical category. My assistant CAO, Jeff LaDuff, along with BRPD, the Sheriff's Department, and all those guys, statistically down in every category. There's some beautiful things happening, but people don't know it. But I want to do more of that. If this thing don't pass, here's what I'm saying. I know I keep going back to it. I keep plugging. On November 15th, if this don't pass, Baton Rouge is going to look vastly different. Well, let me rephrase it. Whatever happens on the 15th, Baton Rouge is going to look vastly different on the 16th, one way or another. Because these cuts we see in the budget, I don't want to fearmonger. I don't want to do that. That's just basic. Because I built that budget without Thrive in mind. Okay. But what I want to do, what does it look like? It's me getting in the community and doing what I say I'm going to do. I didn't come up as a little boy dreaming to be mayor. It only happened in the last year and a half when I was at Struma High School and I saw the despair and the hopelessness and the poverty and the violence. That's why I ran. Now that's why I want to get to work on it. And I'm on the 16th. You know, right now I got to try to push this over the finish line. But look, Perry, a good coach always got a good plan, and he better have a plan B. And I got plan B. I just don't like plan B.
Yeah.
I don't like it, but it is what it is. But that's what does it look like for me being on offense is go and make it happen for the people.
Let me ask you this, Hilly, because he said something about things are going down in terms of crime. But when you look at your office, how do you see it from your office in terms of what's happening out there and having to represent the people on that side of things?
So we keep the stats for the city and the sheriff and the mayor. We give them for our crime strategies unit. The numbers are down, as the mayor indicates, but particularly for me, I look at homicide.
Yeah. And when you say the numbers, let's look at different areas. Are we talking rape cases, theft? Are we talking murders?
Name them all.
Okay.
So overall, you're down. But for me, I look at murders, but more importantly, I look at shots fired. And so shots fired tell you how many times someone is shooting. You get that information by people call in. You get it by shot spotter technology. And so when shots go down, you would think murders and injury go down. Doesn't always work hand in hand, but this year we're 23%. As of today, we're 23% below last year's shots fired.
Can I ask maybe what's going into that to have that number reduced? What is it? Is it anything we can track back and say this is working?
It's more of a focused deterrence where you know where shots are being fired, at what time, what location, focusing on those areas, and then particularly those people who are the ones that are trigger pullers and paying attention to gun cases. So that equates now to around a 12 to 14% decrease in homicides, which is around 8 people compared to last year at this time last year. So we're on, I mean, I hate to jinx ourselves, but we're on pace to have a better year than last year, which is what you always want to be. Our numbers historically have been in the 80s. When we had the BRAVE program years ago, our numbers went down to 60 when we had the focused deterrence. Then after we got rid of that, went back up to the 80s. Then COVID hit, we had 150 that year. 36 of those were domestic violence. The next year after that was 125. Year after that was 112. Last year's 102. This year, we want to be below 102 and continue it to go down. One thing I can say is that the mayor was not able to be at the Gardeer Initiative meeting last weekend, but they had around 400 people there. Dr. Miro Harrison from Southern University started that Gardeer Initiative, and the last time that there was a murder in Gardeer was like 8 to 10 months ago, when that place used to be plagued with homicides. She personally has taken over that neighborhood and has made it thrive. If we could replicate, and the coach and I have talked about this, if we could replicate in Brookstown and all the other areas, make sure you invest like she is, get people from other places in Baton Rouge to come see what they're facing. But you need a person like her that drives it. You can drive crime down in Baton Rouge easily. It just seems, Perry, that just going on my 18th year, but being here 50, we just seem to always be stuck in the same old politics, and it's south of Florida versus north of Florida, but I get the feel that this council is really in it for the entire city of Baton Rouge, although they work for their particular community. But it looks like they really are in it, although they may fight with each other on things. Like they're in it for the entire Baton Rouge. We've got to get out of this muck that we're just stuck in.
Let me ask you this, because now I'm going to bring it back around to Southern University and you being the mayor president. What is your vision and your thoughts in the Scotlandville area and around Southern University, with it being the second largest institution of higher learning within the city, of course, to LSU? But it has so much promise. Of course, they had the North Baton Rouge economic thing that were going on. You're right there by the airport. You have Scenic Highway, Harding Boulevard. But it seems over the years, businesses have not been able to survive. And then you talk about the blight. I see a lot of blight around the university, and as well as improvements that could happen around in terms of local infrastructure, roads, and everything else.
Well, I've been working with a lot of folks out there, in particular, Ms. Pat LaDuff, who we've done 2 tours in that area already. There is some good stuff happening. Our plan, it was delayed right when I got in office, but stay tuned. We should be announcing a new grocery in Scotlandville real soon.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to get through a couple of more hurdles, potentially 2 more groceries. And there's some other businesses that are inquiring about going out that way. There's some things, Scotlandville Parkway. Okay, we're in the plans of revitalizing that area, working with Breck, doing some things out there. Because you got to look that area of town, we got to work on the front porch. That's the first thing everybody sees. So when you go over the hump or wherever you're going in around that area, I want to work with the university to try to beautify that area as well. There's more than one groups with some affordable housing that are working in the area. So here's what I found out. Government moves slow.
Mm-hmm.
The days go fast, but government moves slow. And I'm trying to accelerate it, because what I see the front porch being beautified. I see some economic development. That grocery store is a priority of mine to get that over there. We're in there. We lit up. I didn't mention the energy work in Scotlandville. We went in there and lit most of the neighborhoods up in there as well. If you notice that some areas of Scotlandville don't have street signage.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we got a railroad that runs right through the area.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see any mechanical arms or anything or flashing lights?
Right.
All
nope,
this,
not at all.
It's amazing how someone ain't been killed right there. So we're working hard on that to get that in motion. So the residents out there and the university, stay tuned. The city's gonna do their part. And I've had a great relationship working with the president, the chancellor, and everyone out there, and we're excited to continue our progress.
Yeah, for me, I'm an outsider, but moved here. And when I look at that area, then I look by LSU, I see the growth, the economic development. And just 20 years ago, it wasn't that way, but it is sprawled. And now you look up, it's like, what are they building now? It's just like
right.
you just keep building. But I'm looking at Southern, and on that side of town, it's like, no matter how many entities I hear at the table, it's just having a hard time to just flip and get that green light in terms of economic sprawl and just cleaning up the area, But for me, I would love to see that in the future. Let's get ready to take a break, everybody. We're getting ready to close out the top of the hour. I got, of course, Mayor President Sid Edwards here in the studio, as well as District Attorney Hilla Moore. So you guys stay tuned. We'll be right back. More to Jaguar Journal.
Dawson Odom's on my short list. I would accept him to come back. I like Dawson Odom's. I really do. Right. I can appreciate a coach who got us and navigated us through our dark years. And for a lot of people who don't appreciate it, you just simply don't know what it takes to run a football program, because you know what it's like not to have spring football?
No,
While everybody else developing and playing, but you still have all these greats. I got another name for you. Here go my first white coach. You ready? Right. Bobby Wilder.
Oh, from Tennessee Tech.
Tennessee Tech. Well, Bobby Wilder is the head football coach at Tennessee Tech. Last year, they won a share of the Big South Ohio Valley Conference. He's found success. They ranked in the top 25 right now, 7-0. He's built something there. He's building something. He was there last year, came in first year, 7-5, and now he's undefeated this year. This is Bobby Wilder.
Oh, man. Okay. Pretty good. I like how they got the years of him as a coaching record. Leans towards aggressive. He says his coaching philosophy leans into an aggressive offense and stingy defense. And during his time at ODU, he delivered results. I'm grateful to be commitment to Tennessee Tech. We won a conference championship in our first season together, and we are hungry for more.
I got another one for you.
All right, talk to me.
Mike Jacobs.
Mercer. Jacobs. Mercer.
Another white guy for you.
All right, here we go. Mike Jacobs, a 22-year collegiate veteran coach, was a compiled of an 85-20 record across head coaching stops at Notre Dame, Ohio. Lenore Ryan and Mercer boast the nation's 6th best winning percentage among active coaches in NC. That's a damn good pick.
I'm gonna tell you the guy who I really want.
Who you really want, B?
This who's at the top of my list.
Talk.
Joel Taylor, University of West Georgia.
I've heard his name come up a couple times.
This is the guy who I want.
Yeah, he's from South Carolina State. He's a South Carolina State alum.
South Carolina State.
Yeah, Joel Taylor.
This is the guy who I think ought to be the next head football coach at Southern University.
I love
a lot of people ain't even never heard of him because you didn't do your homework. And all you thinking about is the Jaguar Journal and all these names that you've been hearing everybody else yell. But you got to do your homework on this stuff. This guy right here at the University of West Georgia who's transitioning from Division II, he was the defensive coordinator at Mercer. He comes over to the University of West Georgia. This program is changing, going from D2 to D1. He goes 4-7 in year one, but you got to look at the teams that they play. Guess what? He brought that University of West Georgia team to Louisiana this year and beat the hell out of Nichols.
Y'all got smoked by Nichols.
And at one point, he was in the top 25 this year in FCS. This is a guy that I believe is a program builder. I believe this guy right here can get it done at Southern. If you want to read some about him, that's fine.
It says his.
All right, everybody. Good morning. It is the Jaguar Journal. I am Perry White. Glad to have you guys with us. Good morning to everybody listening across the Baton Rouge capital city area on 107.3 FM and everybody watching on our YouTube and Facebook live on the Jaguar Journal. Of course, District Attorney Hilla Moore here joining me this morning, along with Sid Edwards, the mayor president of East Baton Rouge. Fellas, as we get ready to close it out, I guess I'll give you guys the opportunity for closing statements. Got about 6 minutes, but I'll start with you, Hilla Moore. Give me some closing statements in terms of moving forward for you and your thoughts.
Yeah, so despite the suggestion of the reduction in the budget, everybody still remains hopeful. I issued a statement that, it is difficult to have to reduce the office, but I'm going to remain a team player, not point fingers. It's not a finger pointed. It's not any one person that caused us to be in this position. It's going on for decades. And so we're going to do our part to help, particularly start with Thrive. After that, find ways to work with the legislature to have all the incorporated areas pay their fair share. If we can't get an agreement, the governor indicates he's going to step in and help with additional ADAs particularly for Baton Rouge and Shreveport that needs it quite as well. And I think Acadiana. So not only is it the city parish, it's also the state that has to help us. So I remain optimistic. And if we can continue to get those homicide numbers down, working that's going to really impact our office significantly. So I'm optimistic despite the position we're in, and I'll remain that way forever.
Mayor?
I just, to the Jaguar community, to the community as whole, I'm just asking people to give me some grace, open their heart, open their minds, their eyes. I'm available to any one of them. I ran for the whole parish, but my heart, my boots and my butt been on the ground on the north side of town all my life. I got work to prove it. People in the athletic world know this, but the athletic world just makes up a small portion of our entire parish. Look, God got it. It's ordained. If it passes, it passes. If it don't, it don't. But I just want the people to know sometimes there's just a lot of noise out there. And I ask people to do their research and a deep dive into who I am and what I'm about and who I'm for. I've always been for everyone, but it's the have-nots that God got. Look, how the heck am I the mayor? I was on lunch duty 9 months ago on Winburn Avenue, all right? But God made this happen, and I'm going to do God's work. So I just ask the community to keep their minds open. Like I said, government moves slow. You know, it drives me crazy. But just I want the people to know, I could say all I want to say, I just say to keep the eyes open and look really close on what I'm going to do and what we've done.
Once again, for anybody out there, you talked about this Thrive initiative, but you said it's not going to be on the ballot. So one more time, give the people information before we get ready to get out of here in terms of what it is that they're voting for with this Thrive.
Yeah, 3 propositions. Proposition 1, renewal of the library fund. Proposition 2, mosquito abatement. And Proposition 3, the Council on Aging. If any of the 3 failed, all 3 of those entities lose their funding. Mm-hmm. They do not have their funding. Now, they could come back on the ballot later. But you think about what the library does for Baton Rouge, what mosquito abatement, people don't want to think about it till the mosquitoes eating us alive, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the Council on Aging. I just went to an event the middle of the week. They fed 2,000 people. And this funding will be lost at best temporarily. So it's those 3 things. And let me finish. It is not a new tax.
Mm-hmm.
It is not a new tax. And all 3 of those entities are working together as a team to make this happen.
I think most importantly, what the mayor alluded to earlier, all of the city council, Republicans, Democrat, have all supported this proposal. And I think that's huge that, people that you look up to, you voted for, they're telling you as their elected leaders, that this is the right thing to do. Despite you may want to hold your nose because it's a renewal, it is what they suggest to you. And that's who you elected. So I think it's a big deal.
Well, I appreciate you fellas for coming in this morning, being able to have that conversation, and for people out there to get a better understanding, because one of the things I always say is a lot of people, they watch politics, but they may not truly understand politics. And sometimes it could be a dirty game. Sometimes it's pros and it's cons, but you got to know how to play it. But for the citizens have to do their job to understand it. And this is one way to help people understand, just giving them a perspective, not saying it is the only perspective, but once again, it is a perspective. And you get a chance to hear from elected officials, people who you have put into office. And now, as they say, we got to hold your feet to the fire sometime. And I think for a lot of people, once you get into office, they fall back and then they complain because there's another part of that voting base that actually stays active with elected officials. So if things sometimes seem to go their way, that's because they're being active with the elected officials. So I try to tell people out there, once somebody gets into office, don't fall back and just assume they're going to do the Lord's work in your name. No, you got to be able to continue to conversate and let them know, hey, these are the problems that we're having. Can you help me with those problems? So here we are today. I appreciate you guys. Hey, as it says, Coach Sid Edwards, the mayor president, and Hilla Moore, the district attorney. I appreciate you guys for coming in this morning. I appreciate everybody out there who is tuned in here for the first hour. We got to get ready to go to break. When we come back on the other side, we'll be talking some Southern versus Alcorn State football game today. As you know, the Jaguars have been struggling. You guys coming to the last home game? What y'all doing? I'm holding y'all feet to the fire. Y'all got to come over to the Bluff, hang out with me, tailgate with me or something. What?
CJ got good tickets or what?
CJ say he can get you.
Oh, yeah. I've been twice, and I haven't been disappointed other than the final score.
Yeah.
But, everything leading up to it's outstanding.
Well, I'm going to get y'all to come hang out with me. We're going to hang out at a Southern game. We got one more home game before the Bayou Classic. But thank you, fellas, for coming in today, and I appreciate the conversation. All right, everybody, let's get ready to take a break. We're at the top of the hour. We'll be back more of the Jaguar Journal.
Louisiana Tech Athletics would like to recognize all groups that are in attendance at the game today. Thank you for attending our Bulldogs. And fans are on the ticket office for more information. Louisiana Tech Athletics would like to recognize all groups that are in attendance at the game today. Thank you for attending and
Dawson Odom's on my short list. I would accept him to come back. I like Dawson Odom's. I really do.
Right.
I can appreciate a coach who got us and navigated us through our dark years. And for a lot of people who don't appreciate it, you just simply don't know what it takes to run a football program, because you know what it's like not to have spring football?
No,
Why everybody else developing and playing, but you still have all these greats? I got another name for you. Here go my first white coach. You ready?
Right.
Bobby Wilder.
Oh, from Tennessee Tech.
Tennessee Tech. Well, Bobby Wilder is the head football coach at Tennessee Tech. Last year, they won a share of the Big South Ohio Valley Conference. He's found success. They ranked in the top 25 right now, 7-0. He's built something there. He's building something. He was there last year, came in first year, 7-5, and now he's undefeated this year. This is Bobby Wilder.
Oh, man. Okay. Pretty good. I like how they got the years of him as a coaching record. Leans towards aggressive. He says his coaching philosophy leans into an aggressive offense and stingy defense. And during his time at ODU, he delivered results. I'm grateful to be commitment to Tennessee Tech. We won a conference championship in our first season together, and we are hungry for more.
I got another one for you.
All right, talk to me.
Mike Jacobs. Mercer.
Jacobs. Mercer.
Another white guy for you.
All right, here we go. Mike Jacobs, a 22-year collegiate veteran coach, was a compiled of an 85-20 record across head coaching stops at Notre Dame, Ohio. Lenore Ryan and Mercer boast the nation's sixth best winning percentage among active coaches in NC. That's a damn good pick.
I'm gonna tell you the guy who I really want.
Who you really want, P?
This who at the top of my list.
Talk.
Joel Taylor, University of West Georgia.
I've heard his name come up a couple times.
This is the guy who I want.
Yeah, he's from South Carolina State. He's a South Carolina State alum.
South Carolina State.
Yeah, Joel Taylor.
This is the guy who I think ought to be the next head football coach at Southern University.
I love
a lot
it.
of people ain't even never heard of him because you didn't do your homework. And all you thinking about is the Jaguar Journal and all these names that you've been hearing. All right, everybody, we're back. It's the Jaguar Journal. Good morning to everybody. I am Perry White. Glad to have you guys with us. Want to say thank you to the mayor coming in this morning. Sid Edwards talking to us about things going on, as well as District Attorney Hilla Moore. But now we at the top of the hour. We're moving forward. It's football today. The Jaguars still have some games left on the schedule, and one of them is going up the street, right up Highway 61 to Mississippi, Lorman, Mississippi, as it is called the Reservation, but I've been told it's called the Academic Resort. Whatever you want to call it, it's Alcorn State at the end of the day. And nobody better than talk about Alcorn and today's matchup with Southern than my man Charles Edmond, who is the voice of Alcorn State Braves. Good morning, Charles.
Good morning. Happy Saturday.
What's going on, man? You had your breakfast already, or you headed to have your breakfast?
I've already had my breakfast. I'm already here at the stadium, just doing my last-minute prep, and even though it's several hours before kickoff, just trying to get my mind right here.
Hey, trust me, the Jaguars got to get their mind right today. As we know, going to Alcorn is always a tough place for Southern University. And let's look at Alcorn State coming in today. Ball game, and I kind of go back a little bit, and I'll start from you guys starting the season, then I'll get you to walk me down through that. Starting the season against Northwestern State, losing 20-10 up in Natchitoches, Louisiana, giving Northwestern State their first win in quite some time. Then losing on the road, Alabama A&M beats Alcorn State for the first time in quite some time, 41-31. Then taking on SEC Mississippi State, 63-0 was the final. Then taking it over to Memphis to the Southern Heritage Classic, UAPB and Alcorn. How about UAPB getting a 24-20 victory over Alcorn? And then after a month on the road, the Braves finally made it back to Lorman, Mississippi, and they hosted Prairie View. Prairie View escaped out of there with a 1-point victory, 13-12 over Alcorn State. Then homecoming came, 42-0 victory over Lincoln. Then going on the road to be FAMU's homecoming, Florida A&M falling short there to FAMU and the Rattlers, 33-28. Then last week, 32-10 over Mississippi Valley. And then this shocked me, Charles. I'm not going to lie. When I looked up and saw this score, 33-14, Alcorn State all over Texas Southern,
I said, man, something had to have happened in that ball game. And let me know what that something was as you look back at that game, talking about Alcorn and Texas Southern and everything else up to this point, Charles.
Well, you started with the very first game of the season against Northwestern State, a team that had lost 20 games in a row and hadn't won a game in 3 years. That's what got the season started sideways. I mean, that was a Debbie Downer, to say the least, and I'm putting it mildly. Just couldn't generate any offense. We had a new quarterback in Jalen Tolbert, and it's taken him a little bit of time to find himself. He has found himself now, playing much better now than he did early in the season. So you start there. So we started sideways there against Northwestern State. Then obviously Alabama A&M, we scored 31 points, which was good because our offense with the new quarterback was kind of a concern. But we scored 31 points, and our defense sprung a leak. Defensively against Northwestern State, we played pretty well. They only had one touchdown. But at the same time, defensively against Alabama A&M, we sprung a leak big time. So offense struggled 1 week, defense struggled, and both teams struggled at one point in the season. But I think, the turning point to me was that Prairie View game. We missed a field goal at the end. A very good Prairie View team, Tremaine Jackson, his first season. And we missed a field goal at the end that could have won the game. We took a sack late that took us out of field goal range. But, as you fast forward to Texas Southern, that was the one game that might just kind of get us going here a little bit. We beat Valley, which was good. We beat Lincoln, which was good. But Texas Southern was one of the hottest teams in the league. They had won 4 games in a row going into the game last week. And although Prairie View lost, Texas Southern still has a shot at the division. It's going to take a Prairie View loss, obviously. But that was an eye-opener. And I think the Braves are on the right path. It's just a matter now of continuing that path against a Southern team that I can't even recognize.
Right.
Can't even recognize this Jaguar team, Pierre White. You've seen them more than I have. You look at the stats, only 1 interception, not many sacks. Defensively, it's just been a struggle. But look, this is where we are. You got a new interim coach in Fred McNair coming in here, and that's going to be one of the big storylines. But, for the Braves, it's just a matter of finishing the season strong. Year 2 of Cedric Thomas, that's going to be the key. But I guarantee you, in the offseason, our fans are going to be asking, where was this team at the beginning of the season? That's going to be talked about the entire offseason, no matter how this thing ends at the end of the regular season.
I want to start on the offensive side of the ball, and you break it down for me, but let's look at some stats right now. Offensively for Alcorn State, currently ranking 9th in scoring, averaging 23 points a game right now, near the bottom, just above Southern University, who is dead last in scoring offense in the conference. Then Alcorn State coming in at 7th at total offense right now. Alcorn averaging 355 yards an offense a game. Southern University is dead last at 12th, averaging 300 yards a game. Then looking at rush offense, Alcorn State 5th in the conference right now, averaging 175 yards a game rushing. Southern currently 8th in the conference at 151 yards rushing a game. And then, Charles, we are rounded out at passing. Alcorn State ranked 9th in pass offense in the conference, averaging 179 passing yards a game. Southern University ranked dead last at 12th in the conference, averaging 149 yards passing the game. Let's look at this Alcorn State offense. Let's start with the offensive line and work our way. And let's start with 2 areas. I say offensive line and then the running back position currently.
Yeah, the offensive line has really played well of late. Keeping Jalen Tolbert, our quarterback, upright. We definitely struggled against Florida A&M. That was probably our low water mark in terms of offensive line play. Florida A&M whipped us pretty good on the defensive line versus our O line. But we've got some veteran presence up there. We got some bodies, and we've got some girth. But at times we have definitely struggled there. But the last few games in this streak, you go back to Lincoln, you go to Valley as well as Texas Southern, we've played really well up front. And that opens up the running game. We're one of the top running teams in the conference. Last week we had over 200 yards rushing. We've had almost a 300-yard rushing performance in other games this season in the Southwestern Athletic Conference. So I think when you look at that, led by Jacorian Sewell, who got banged up in the Texas Southern game last week in the fourth quarter, went in the locker room, came back out, but didn't play. He's going to be a game-time decision. My feeling is, in talking with Cedric Thomas, that he is going to play, but we'll see once he warms up whether he'll be ready to go. We went to the doctor on Monday. Nothing that I've heard that leads you to believe that it's anything serious, but I still think it's a game time decision whether or not he'll play. So that's the Braves, offense. If you just go back over the years with Arnold Walker and Anthony A-Train Williams and DeLance Turner, we're known for running the football. And we're going to have to get that done today if we're going to have a chance against what I think is a Southern team that's going to play probably the best game of the year. I just have that feeling. Pride kicks in. At some point, you get tired of getting whipped.
Hey, don't gas me up, Charles. You sound like you're trying to gas us up.
You can't just keep taking whippings like Southern has taken whippings.
Well, let me
7
tell
straight
you.
losses, first time in program history. I had to look that up, and I found that just a little while ago. First time in program history that they've lost 7 straight games. That is an unbelievable statistic, but it just shows you, where Southern University is right now. But I think that with Fred McNair coming back, and look, I said this, 30 days ago, Fred McNair coming back here was a story. Now with 7 hours until kickoff, Fred McNair coming back here, the interim head coach, is the story.
That's all we got.
Nothing else has been talked about. I haven't heard anyone talk about the game, the X's and O's, the keys to the game. All I've heard from folks all week long, even our folks, what's the reaction going to be when Coach McNair graces this field on the other side?
It better be a standing
just shows
ovation.
you how this thing has gone.
It better be a standing ovation. A key to the school, because it ain't a city, so a key to the school and everything else. Charles, but before we get ready to go to break, I know we talked about the O-line and the running back. Let's talk about the quarterback position and the wide receivers offensively for Alcorn State.
Yeah, Jalen Tolbert has really played well of late. He struggled early on. Teams were really stacking the box, but giving Jalen Tolbert all kinds of running lanes on the outside, he wasn't taking advantage of it. Starting with the Florida A&M game, he's been doing that. Florida A&M, Valley, Lincoln, Texas Southern, he's been doing that. So I think that's going to be the key for us. Jalen Tolbert's taking what the defense gives him in terms of his running lanes are concerned. So I think that's going to be one of the keys to this ball game.
And what about the wide receiver? Because one thing I knew Alcorn always had was physical wide receivers who can go at and that jump ball, they can grab it, as well as doing a great job at blocking on the outside. Because you said if you want to run the ball, Alcorn State was the team, but those receivers really helped a lot of those running lanes, especially to the outside, being physical and blocking. Alcorn State receivers thus far in 2025.
Yeah, well, Jarvis Rush is a guy that really has stepped up that I think you're going to have to pay attention to. Omarion Blakes will probably be on special teams returning punts or kickoffs. Is really something special on the outside. Then we've got a 6'3" big target in Tyron Warren, a junior from Picayune, Mississippi. He's a tall target on a jump ball. He can go out and get it. And Jacoby Mack, you'll see him in a slot as well as on special teams. So those, the Braves receivers have really come around of late. And we got another kid, a youngster, Jamar Cahoe from Natchez, right up the road, 6'4". Then you could give him a jump ball. He can go get it. So the Braves have some athleticism at the receiver spot. It's just a matter of whether or not Jalen Tolbert puts it in the right spot to give his receivers a chance to go get it.
And I can't forget a quarterback's best friend, the dump off, the tight end. Alcorn in terms of the tight end position. Most teams' tight ends have become pretty much obsolete in terms of pass catching. But for Alcorn State, what does that tight end position look like?
Elijah Griffin, he hasn't gotten as many touches as you would like, but Elijah Griffin, the senior from St. Louis, my hometown, we used to have pretty good tight ends in terms of just possessions, but the last couple of years, not the case. But I think over the last few weeks, we're kind of incorporating that tight end more and more here going forward. So we'll see on 2nd and short, 3rd and short, 4th and short. You get your tight end involved, but that's kind of been an issue for us. Hopefully, it'll work itself out a little bit starting today.
St. Louis, I remember U City from up that way. Let me ask you, does St. Louis, in your opinion, have the best fried rice? They say the Chinese food is immaculate.
Absolutely. We call it chop suey up there. You can't beat it. I haven't been able to figure it out yet. I've been to different places, been all over the place. I haven't been able to match that taste yet. You can't beat Chinese food in St. Louis.
Let's get ready to take a break, everybody. I got my man Charles Edmond, who is the voice of the Alcorn State Braves. When we come back on the other side, we'll look at the defensive side of the ball for Alcorn and today's matchup between Southern and Alcorn State up in Lorman, Mississippi. It's a road game for the Jaguars, so you guys stay tuned. And a homecoming for Fred McNair. So we'll be right back. More of the Jaguar Journal.
18, Michael Schatt. Linebacker number 7. Michael Schatt, linebacker number 7.
All right, everybody, we're back. More of the Jaguar Journal. Good morning to everybody. I'm Perry White. Glad to have you guys with us. Good morning to everybody out there listening on Talk 107.3 across the Baton Rouge capital city area. And good morning to everybody out there watching on our YouTube and Facebook Live. Glad to have you guys as we're keeping it going. It's Southern versus Alcorn State today. The Jaguars will be on the road taking on, and I got my man Charles Edmond. Charles, let me ask you this because I've been trying to figure this out as I'm talking about this game. It's the word rivalry is never really used with this game, so I really don't know what it is. In my opinion, in my young time as a Jaguar, is it a rivalry or what is this?
I think it's a rivalry because it's the closest school proximity to Southern University. That's the only thing I can put on it, and the fact that it's always been a rivalry because of the history, former AD and Coach Marino Cassim at Alcorn and at Southern University, and just in the 90s when Steve McNair did his thing against Southern University. We've had so many championship type games here. I remember we were 0-11 in 99, and we recovered an onside kick late in the game. We recovered it. The guy fell, threw it back in bounds, and Southern recovered. We came down with the ball in the onside kick, and all we had to do was come down with it. He threw it back in bounds. Southern recovered. They win the game. I mean, so it's just been, those type of games that's happened. First 2 SWAC championship games on campus, Alcorn and Southern. So I just think it's just one of those deals where 2 schools for Southern, Alcorn, the closest proximity. At least in my opinion, that's how this rivalry developed. And I think even pre-Charles Edmond, I think it's always been that way.
And Alcorn is just a damn thorn in our side. Listen, they're one of the few schools that has a true winning record against the Jaguars and overall. And somebody asked me about it. I said, they typically recruit talent from this area, and that talent wants to have the best game when Southern touches the field. And, we've seen that happen in the past. Now, Charles, let's look at defensively for the Alcorn State Braves. And right now, in terms of scoring, defensively, Alcorn State ranks 4th, giving up 24 points a game on average in the conference. When you look at Alcorn State defensively in terms of total defense, Alcorn State right now ranking 5th in the conference, giving up an average of 371 yards a game to opposing offenses. Now, let's talk about the rush defense of Alcorn State. Number 2 in the conference, which I think that could present a problem for Southern, who wants to run the ball, and that's pretty much the one-dimensional game Southern is falling into, running the ball. Alcorn State 2nd, right behind Jackson State in rush defense, only giving up 136 rushing yards a game. And then let's take it to the passing side of things, where Alcorn State is near the bottom at 10th, right above Southern, who is 11th. Alcorn State giving up an average of 235 passing yards a game. You looking at this Alcorn State team defensively, your thoughts, especially with that great rush defense, but not so good pass defense?
Well, you talked about, the recruiting. One of the times you were here, a guy by the name of Keenan Leachman had a hell of a game against Southern University. I believe that was the last game that Coach Dooley coached. And Keenan Leachman wanted to go to Southern University. He winds up at Alcorn and has a hell of a game. So you just talk about the recruiting aspect of it. But yeah, defensively, I think you have to look at the last few games. Early in the season, it was a struggle. As a matter of fact, we didn't get a sack until probably midway through the season. 0 sacks until the midway point. And at one point, we got a trophy for having the most sacks. We had over 50 sacks one year, and got an award from the FCS about it. So it was a struggle defensively. But I think right now, if you look at the Texas Southern game, a team that can run the football, we did a really nice job there against Valley, a team that's not known for scoring. We kind of bottled them up a little bit. And then, you start with the Prairie View game, holding a team right there, 13 points. So I think the last few games, I know it's an overall body of work, but the last few games, Braves defense has really kind of found their footing, getting to the quarterback. We've been banged up on the back end of that defense. Against Florida A&M, we went for it on a 4th and 2 from our 35-yard line. And with 5 minutes left and 3 timeouts, that's because the back end of our defense was banged up. Cedric Thomas didn't want to put him back out there in that situation. We didn't get the first down. FAMU scored and kind of pulled away, and even though we scored late. So I think we've had some injuries on the back end of the defense. But I think right now you would say that defensively we're really getting after it a little bit. And, Trey Holly, that's all I've heard this week, being at practice. Trey Holly. That's all we've heard. And and we know, I know that they're going to put it in his belly a bunch of times to kind of slow down that Braves defense.
Let's look at the Braves defensive line and start there. What play that you've been seeing, and give us some names of guys on that interior defense for Alcorn State.
Well, when you look at this Braves defense up front, I mean, we have been really, really solid up front. Jaden Boast up front, 6'3" grad student, has been really tough. Caden Kennedy, Kenneth Andrews up front. Eric Thomas is the guy that really has been one of our stalwarts up front. And then in the middle, of course, Cedric Roberts, as well as Jaquez Dew in the middle of that defense. On the back end, though, Samarian Edwards, the grad student who was kind of all conference coming in, was at football media day. But I think up front, we're going to have to get a push, and we're going to have to slow down this Southern offense of sorts because, I don't know who's going to start at quarterback. I mean, I think that's been the big story. You started out with a really good quarterback there, and then he gets concussed in the Valley game. looks like he's going to be out for the rest of the year. And so you kind of had a musical chairs there at quarterback. And so I think that's going to be the key. Slowing down Trey Holly, slowing down that running game, and put it in the hands of probably an inexperienced quarterback to try to make plays. And I think that's what the Braves are looking for.
Then let's take it to the linebacker and the defensive backfield. What does that look like for you guys up there at Alcorn?
When we talked about the linebackers, with Jaguar Journal up front, well as Cedric Roberts, I mean, really, so the late blitzes have been able to get home. And then on the back end, you got Markel McLaurin. On the back end, Damarian Edwards, as we talked about, one of our top defensive players. We've got another kid named Ricardo Butler, who really was picked on against Florida A&M, held his own, and Patrick Kinsey, on the back end. Just some experience there. Like I said, we've been banged up there. It's been musical chairs the last few weeks. We're starting to get healthy back there. So I think the Braves have their defense kind of the way they want it at this point. And I know a lot of people are going to say at the end of this season, what happened early in the season? We just didn't have it all together, really offensively or defensively. But we're finding our stride now. And, we got Grambling here at home and in Jackson State. We can finish this thing out strong. I think some of the criticism that Coach Thomas has been getting, and he's been getting that, no doubt, but winning helps cure that. And, hopefully we can get our third in a row here today.
You know what helped cure it even more? Winning a championship, Charles. That's what gets it done. And I can't forget special teams. What are you guys looking like on special team? You got a powerful leg back there we're going to have to watch out for today?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Our starting place kicker left the team, had some family issues, and so he is out for the remainder of the season. But when you look at our kicking game right now, with Zoe Garcia, it's done a really nice job. In really his range, because he's kind of new on the scene, Cedric Thomas is really watching the range, can't get too far out of the range. We took a sack late against Prairie View, which knocked him out of field goal, even though we attempted a field goal late to try to beat Prairie View, came up short because of that sack. Jacoby Matthews and Amarian Blake, look for those two as far as punt and kickoff return yardage is concerned. As a matter of fact, when you look at our punt return unit, we're one of the better punt return units in the Southwestern Athletic Conference. So usually Perry White, when Southern and Alcorn plays, special teams has always been a factor. You kick a field goal at the end a few years ago down there in Mumford. I just mentioned a special teams foible for us when we went winless one year. So special teams is definitely going to be a factor in this game. Somehow, some way, I have a feeling.
And now let's circle. We can't ignore it. You talked about it. It was one of the storylines. Now it is the storyline. Coach Fred McNair, the original Air McNair, of course, all he has done at Alcorn State, I guess you could say he is Alcorn State. Who is Alcorn State if he ain't Alcorn State, right? He gets a chance to come back home. I told him earlier this week, I said, I never thought I'd see the day you would be on the other side coaching another team, and damn sure not Southern University, the team who you whooped up on all those years for a championship. But nonetheless, Fred McNair is coming home, and I think it's going to have an interest of everybody in that area as the interim coach here at Southern University. He is yet to catch to get a victory here at Southern, but he got a chance to coach against FAMU, one of the last teams to check off on his resume. Now coaching against Alcorn State. He is officially coached against all 12 teams in the conference. And for you now, looking at Fred McNair coming back, man, what is this like for the Braves? And don't hate on him. Don't be mad at him because he's a Jaguar right now. He got to get his money, man. He got to get his money.
Well, Fred McNair and me are good. One of the last things he did, and he gave me access when he was here inside the program at practice. But one of the great things that he did, my mother, last year that he was coach, my mother, who passed away a few months after the season, met Coach for the first time, and Coach gave her an autographed jersey and a football. And she was just so happy for that. And so as far as me and Fred McNair is concerned, it's all good on and off the field. Great dude, great person. And you just cannot take away from what he did here. And I think people are still scorned, frustrated, ticked off in terms of how it ended. It's not like he was fired. He was not fired. He was offered a contract. He had the contract in front of him for a while, had to think about it, and he made the personal and professional decision to move on. And so it's not like he was let go. And I think people were upset about that. Overall, you can't take away the championships he won here, the division titles he won here. You can't take away the Celebration Bowl appearances that we were in when he was here. So if you just take all that, yes, the last couple of years he was coach, it wasn't that great. COVID changed everything for us. We opted out. And so we just never really got it back together after COVID. And so people were upset about just the fact that we were playing so well and doing so well. And the last couple of years we had. But if you just take a deep breath, relax, and evaluate his tenure here, he was really good for us. He was good to me, just being selfish and personal about it. He was good to me. And I think he was good to a lot of people here. It's just the way that it ended. Some people might not understand. Some people might not agree, but it was a business decision he had to make. And I understand that. And I hope more people understand it as time goes along. So there's no hate as far as I'm concerned. I do think that people are still scorned about it. And I do think that our fans will give him the respect that he deserves and give him the applause that he deserves. And so I think with that, we'll be fine on that accord. Now, there are some people that are angry with him, upset with him, and always will be. And there's nothing he can do about it or we can do about it. But he was good for us overall. If you just look at it, just take the emotion out of it and what he did as a coach and even as a person. You can't take away just the kindness of his heart and the things that he did. So I get it. I get it. And I think it wouldn't be as much of a factor if he wasn't named interim coach. I think it would just be a story, him coming back when he was named quarterback coach or whatever it was when he got there. But because he's named the interim coach, I think it's a little bit different. And of course, you're in the spotlight when you're named the coach, the head coach. So I think that's where we are on it. I do think our fans are going to give him the respect and dignity he deserves because he was really good here. He won here. And I think fans will give him that. And he's owed that.
Yeah, I hope the PA announcer, show some love. Even though it's Southern, I hope they say welcome home to, Alcorn State Brave, Fred McNair. I just really do because of what you just said. And let me ask you this before we get ready to get up out of here. If there's a Mount Rushmore of football coaches at Alcorn State, does Fred McNair make that Mount Rushmore?
I think he does for sure. You look at Marino Castle and what he did when he was here. You look at Jay Hobson when he did when he was here. So I think there is no doubt that what Fred McNair did, you have to put him right up there amongst one of the top football coaches we've ever had here. Of course, he was hired here by Jay Hobson as the quarterback's coach. And of course, when Jay Hobson left to go to USM, he was named head coach. So what Fred McNair did here was something special. I mean, we were the best team in the Eastern Division. Of course, when we moved to the West after COVID and all of that, it was kind of different. But when in the East, we won 6 straight division titles. Fred McNair was a part of that. I don't know if that's ever going to be done again in this conference, Pierre White. 6 straight division titles. I don't think that's going to happen again. I mean, Jackson is doing well, but, they got a little mountain to climb to catch that. But I think, I mean, if you're just being honest about it, I mean, they got a little ways to go. But, winning 6 straight division titles is in this conference, it was unheard of at the time, considering you had a lot of good teams. Jackson State was and Jackson was down at the time, but you still at Alabama State, that was tough. You had A&M, you had Aquil Glass and that crew with Maynard that was doing some good things. We were able to navigate that. That's when we're in the Eastern Division. It's been a struggle in the West. Hopefully we get back up there. But to answer your question, I think Fred McNair should be, at least in my opinion, he is amongst one of the top football coaches ever to grace the sidelines here.
Charles Edmond, the voice of the Alcorn State Braves, for everybody out there listening this morning. Charles, I want to say thank you for joining me this morning, man. He's already at the stadium. They getting the grass and everything ready. They getting it ready for us, Jaguar Nation. Now, Charles, I don't know how many of us going to show up today, but we should have at least some fans there. And let me ask you this, man, before you get ready to go. Let the people know, how can they keep up with you and follow you for all that you do?
I'm on Facebook. I appreciate that. I'm on Facebook, Charles. That's pretty standard, straightforward. On X, Tall Man Radio. So I post things, interviews, and whole bunch of other stuff. So that's how you can follow me. And to answer your question, Perry White, now I will say this: in years past, when Southern and Alcorn have gotten together here, this place, the parking lot will be full, cars all over the place, tailgating is not quite that. When I got on campus probably about 5:30, and I remember, even though the game's at 3, I remember in years past when this game was really, really big and huge, the line would be halfway down the stretch. But it just shows you where things are. We're not where we want to be. Southern's not where they want to be. And like you said, it's not quite the same. So I get it. I understand it. And hopefully folks will show the cloudy skies here right now. Slight chance of rain, I think, will be okay. But it's definitely not the same as it once was several years ago when Alcorn and Southern were really going at it.
I just hope I don't hear Cherokee all night, Charles.
You're going to hear that now. That is something you might as well bring your earplugs because you're going to get plenty of Cherokee. At least we hope anyway.
I guess I just have to deal when I get there. Everybody, that is the voice of Charles Edmond. Here's the voice of Alcorn State Braves. And Charles, I appreciate you this morning, my brother.
All right, appreciate it, Perry.
All right, everybody, let's get ready to take a break. We come back on the other side. Listen, call in and talk to me if you want to. 225-499-1073. I've been hearing some crazy stuff about the coaches people want at Southern. I mean, some things are outrageous, but if you want to call and say who you think, who you want, talk to me. After last week, me going to Pine Bluff, certain words I want to use, but I can't use, but it happened to us up there in Pine Bluff. Hey, if you want to coach and you say this coach, you want to say it publicly, call in. I'm going to talk to you about who I think. I'm going to keep this conversation going, but once again, I'm giving you the platform, 225-499-1073. I ain't heard from Chris. William, last time William called, he got on me. William, who you want to be the coach? Chris, who you want to be the coach? I mean, anybody, who do you want to be the coach at this point at Southern University? All right, let's take a break. We'll be back. More of the Jaguar Journal. right, everybody. Good morning. This is the Jaguar Journal. I'm Perry White. Glad to have you guys with us, everybody, on Talk 107.3 FM across the Baton Rouge capital city area. A vast amount of land that we're covering this morning of listeners and everybody in the other part of the land across the world watching and listening on our YouTube and Facebook. Let's go to the call lines. We got my man Chuck this morning. Chuck, what's up?
Yes, good morning to you all. Doing fine. I'm gonna be brief. Yeah, well, the ad just went off. They show you how much those jobs, pressure cooker jobs, and something they have a foundation for Charles McClendon. Yeah, he found out it wasn't easy at LSU. You know, he was on Paul Diesel's staff when they won that 1958 national championship. And he became head coach, but what happened? He couldn't beat Bear Bryant. That's what happened. He ended up losing his job. He even had winning seasons. And that Southern, same thing. That's going to be the question for any coaches interested in that job. Do you have the temperament for the job? Because it is a pressure cooker, just like Florida A&M, now Grambling, or North Carolina A&T. Do you have the temperament for those jobs? Because much is expected of you, but that's going to be my landing gear.
Appreciate you, Chuck.
All right, you all take care. Have fun and be safe.
Yes, sir. All right, let me do this real quick because I didn't really do much of it. Let's look back at last week's game. Of course, I was up in Pine Bluff. I did not like the outcome. I'm actually embarrassed. I'm super embarrassed, to be honest. A team that you were 44-11 against coming into that game. Every dog got his day, right? Every Jaguar, I guess, has his day. But it was the way that day went from the very opening kickoff, muffing the kickoff and botching it and then setting up UAPB right there to go right in. It was over with as that thing kicked off, and Southern never could get anything going. Trey Holly was caught in the backfield. The O-line just was not there. And then nonetheless, it was so much more embarrassing because there was a social media video that was put out there that saying, you know, from some players, we were going to get our first win. And then after the game, UAPB's head coach Alonzo Hampton, the football team, mimicked that social media post and did it back at Southern. Everything about it was embarrassing. And even more so, now my mother has 1 year to gloat about beating Southern. And I can't stand for that. And I love her to death. I just can't stand for that. And everybody in Pine Bluff was like, take your butt back to Baton Rouge with this L. And I can take an L. I can. I don't have a problem with it. Ain't none of y'all undefeated in no fights. Ain't none of y'all ever been undefeated in nothing you ever played in life. Ain't none of y'all undefeated at nothing. We all take L's, but it's how you take a L. Like if I'm throwing hands, I'm using hands throwing this morning, and you just got me. Hey, that was a good fight. But if you knock me out, hey, Southern got knocked out last week. You want some of this too, old man? No, that was Southern last week. Now, I don't want none of this. You got it, Debo. We let UAPB Debo us. I don't even know if y'all saw the highlights. All the incredible one. I mean, it didn't. I don't know what UAPB team that was. I really don't. The catches I saw for touchdown, there were 3 total in the game. 2 only counted for a touchdown because that third one, which was an incredible one-handed catch, the receiver just got out of bounds as he was bringing it in. I don't know what got into UAPB. Their D-line was pushing around our offensive line. They were knocking us all across the park. I'm over it. 40-21 was the final score. UAPB 389 total yards in this game, 231 in the air, 158 on the ground for Southern. The penalties, 14 penalties for over 120 yards in this ball game. That is not a disciplined team. 296 total yards of offense for Southern, 222 in the air, only 74 yards rushing. Once again, I'm embarrassed, very much so. I thought I was embarrassed after the Bethune-Cookman game, but Bethune-Cookman turned out to be a lot better team than what we thought. But I'm truly embarrassed now. I don't have no problem telling you publicly. I've had conversations with everybody. I'm saying it out loud. This is the truth. This is what I've heard. This possibly is the worst Southern football team in football history at Southern. I could ask the craziest question in the world on how we got here, but I know how we got here. You know how we got here. We all know how we got here. Now the question is, how the hell do we get away from here? I don't like it. Y'all don't like it. We don't like it. Let's just come together. Now, I've been hearing the crazy stories. I mean, even with head coaches, man, I mean, I've heard Tyrann Mathieu, Marshall Faulk, Ed Orgeron. I mean, just you throw it out there, I didn't heard it. But let me tell y'all something before I get ready to go to break. And this is how I feel. I'm nobody else. I'm just Perry. And listen, I respect everybody's opinion. But damn it, I have been on this show over and over and over and over trying to get not only you as the fans and the listeners, but the administration and everybody else to understand what is it that we want moving forward, because we at rock bottom. This is a rebuild. This is a climb out of hell of where we at right now as a football program. And it just does not happen overnight. So from all of the names that I've been hearing and what I've been telling you guys here on this radio show and other places, do you want to just get a name of a guy that's familiar that you think can coach, or do you want to be in damn FCS top 25 program? That's championship to Perry, not SWAC good, not HBCU good. Once again, do you want to be the best damn can I say damn? Okay. Do you want to be the best damn FCS football program in the state of Louisiana? Because I can assure you, if you are the best FCS football program in the state of Louisiana, you will win a SWAC championship and you will win a Celebration Bowl. I can assure you that. So now the question is, do you want a coach that you want to see and say, hey, let's let them figure it out? And it's a hit or miss. Take Deshaun Jackson at Delaware State. Hey, he hit this year. It hit. They won last night. They are in the driver's seat right now to win the MEAC and potentially go to a Celebration Bowl. Delaware State, which I think, for me, keep Deshaun Jackson's name in the mix. I had an opportunity to interview Nemo Washington, his offensive coordinator. They're the #1 rush team in all of FCS football up there at Delaware State. But it did miss with Michael Vick. But the names that I have continued to throw out there are FCS coaches that are a part of the FCS landscape. 225-499-1073 is the number if you want to call in. Once again, I'm Perry White. I'm just one person. Some people say, well, who the hell is he? What does he know? I know enough. I know enough. And for me, I know what I want to see Southern be. An FCS top 25 program, because ask somebody when was the last time we were in the top 25. Even though we played for some SWAC championships, did we win them? No. We want to be the top program because you're recruiting against other FCS programs with the talent-rich athletes that you have within the state of Louisiana, and you will lose out to them to the other schools that you cannot beat in the state of Louisiana, i.e. not named Grambling State. So, I hear all of these names. But once again, it's why I continue to yell, if there's a front runner for me, Joel Taylor, the University of West Georgia. He's one of the top defensive minds in all of FCS football. He took a Mercer defense that was ranked in 100s, which is probably where Southern's defense is now. The 100s of all of the nation, and brought them to number 17. He is transitioning. Now, I'm saying his name. I don't know what money he wants. I don't know what kind of discussion. I'm just saying I'm talking to somebody who can damn well turn around a program and build it. And I don't care about a name. It don't got to be a famous name. It has to be a proven body of work in this day and age of what we have continuously done is hired by names and not by body of work. He has transitioned University of West Georgia from Division II to Division I, and he has beaten 2 schools that have beaten the hell out of SWAC schools this year. He came to Nichols, beat the hell out of Nichols, and he just beat the University of Central Arkansas, who continuously beats UAPB by 40 points. But SWAC good, remember that. That's what y'all like. I got a problem with that. Now, I think differently. I am different. I'm considered so-called an outsider who's an insider. I'm not the traditional Southern way. And I won't be, and I never will be. I love Southern. I got my own idea of Southern. I don't have a lineage of Southern. I'm not legacy to Southern. I love Southern for what Southern is. But I always say this, my love lies within the institution and never the individual. The institution will be here when all of those other individuals, there's plenty of folks in the grave right now. But the school is still here. But I'm tired of coming on here and then I just realized people, they just like names. Just give me a name and I like it. Oh, that sounds good. But are you doing your homework on these people? So I'm just saying, I'm not with the old way. We done the old way. Look what it's got us. 2 coaches later, here we are. 3 coaches later, here we are. And Southern, do you really want this? Because if you really want this, now we got to make the investment, and I hold you to the fans accountable. We're going to have to put our money where our mouth is to be able to help the next staff. We need funds to get recruiting. This is what's wrong with this team this year. They did a horrible job at recruiting, no doubt about it. You cannot look at that field and say we did a good job at recruiting. We did not. There is some talent. There is some talent. But we're going to have to get guys to actually go in and recruit the transfer portal and not watch a 3-minute highlight and say this guy's good. Watch a 15-minute of this guy's game. So when he get here, we see the things that he does good. But what does he do bad so we can work on it? Yeah, he a good damn running back, breakaway speed. He can hit the hole. But what does he look like in pass blocking? So when he gets here, maybe we got to develop him in pass blocking as an example. We got to recruit the high school kid. We got to do our due diligence to scout. Also, for me, we don't have to continuously go up to FBS trying to get this group of 5, Power 5 guys. Hey, there's plenty of talent that we need to be developing up from the NAIA Division II and Division III that are hidden gems that ain't going to cost you an arm and a leg that we already don't have, trying to pay a prima donna guy to come in that feel like he's better than the program. Not all, but some. When you get a taste of the other side and then you come back, hey, it's like going to live in the suburb and then you come back to the hood. You look at things just a little bit different. Let's take a break. We'll be back. More of the Jaguar Journal.
Dawson Odom's on my short list. I would accept him to come back. I like Dawson Odom's. I really do.
Right.
I can appreciate a coach who got us and navigated us through our dark years. And for a lot of people who don't appreciate it, you just simply don't know what it takes to run a football program, because you know what it's like not to have spring football?
No,
While everybody else developing and playing, but you still have all these greats. I got another name for you. Here go my first white coach. You ready?
Right.
Bobby Wilder.
Oh, from Tennessee Tech.
Tennessee Tech. Well, Bobby Wilder is the head football coach at Tennessee Tech. Last year, they won a share of the Big South Ohio Valley Conference. He's found success. They ranked in the top 25 right now, 7-0. He's built something there. He's building something. He was there last year, came in first year, 7-5, and now he's undefeated this year. This is Bobby Wilder.
Oh, man. Okay. Pretty good. I like how they got the years of him as a coaching record. Leans towards aggressive. He says his coaching philosophy leans into an aggressive offense and stingy defense. And during his time at ODU, he delivered results. I'm grateful to be commitment to Tennessee Tech. We won a conference championship in our first season together, and we are hungry for more.
I got another one for you.
All right, talk to me.
Mike Jacobs. Mercer.
Jacobs. Mercer.
Another white guy for you.
All right, here we go. Mike Jacobs, a 22-year collegiate veteran coach, was a compiled of an 85-20 record across head coaching stops at Notre Dame, Ohio. Lenore Ryan and Mercer, both the nation's 6th best winning percentage among active coaches in NC. That's a damn good pick.
I'm gonna tell you the guy who I really want.
Who you really want, B?
This who's at the top of my list.
Talk.
Joel Taylor, University of West Georgia.
I've heard his name come up a couple times.
This is the guy who I want.
Yeah, he's from South Carolina State. He's a South Carolina State alum.
South Carolina State.
Yeah, Joel Taylor.
This is the guy who I think ought to be the next head football coach at Southern University.
I love
a lot
it.
of people ain't even ever heard of him because you didn't do your homework. And all you thinking about is the Jaguar Journal and all these names that you've been hearing everybody else yell. But you got to do your homework on this stuff. This guy right here at the University of West Georgia who's transitioning from the...
All right, we're back. It's the Jaguar Journal. I'm Perry White. Good morning, everybody. I know I see some people say I was hollering at y'all. I'm not hollering at this is passion. And I see somebody in the comment, who is this? Blue 706. You talking about why do I come on here and talk about negative? This ain't negative. This is real. Ain't nothing negative about what I'm saying. This ain't beating no dead horse. Did you listen to the show last week? I didn't even mention this last week, so you can miss me with that. What you hearing right now is a passionate person that went on the road. You traveling and going to these games and watching what's happening? Ain't nothing negative about what I'm saying. Everything of what I'm saying is passionate. What's negative of how we got here. The Southern way has been us ignoring and saying, well, you're speaking negatively. Don't say that out loud. We don't need to let everybody know what we doing. Well, look where we at. The worst damn team in Southern history. A 7-game losing streak and not a win in conference play. And you telling me I'm being negative? The record is already negative enough? No, what I'm trying to do is open eyes to what we can do because the possibilities are endless. Right now, what has happened, we have gotten content with this way of SWAC good, wanting to be SWAC this and SWAC that when we act like there's not a whole world out there. And I get frustrated because guess what? Regardless of the fact you get the listen, which you don't have to, anybody at any given time can turn this off and go listen to anything else. But I'm the one got to report on this. I'm the one watching this. Not only am I doing this, I'm doing a coach's show with my man, Ty Sir. I'm all the way entrenched. I'm at the press conference on Tuesdays. So it's frustrating. Ain't nothing negative about this. I'm not the one going out there losing the games. So don't say it's negative enough and I'm beating a dead horse. No, this is the reality of the world. You can be the one to put your head in the sand and act like it don't exist and it's going to be a brighter day. It's the same way why I brought the politicians on here this morning, because we got to have conversations about what's going on. You just don't elect nobody and just fall back once you elect them and swear that they're going to take care. No, you continue to do your part to put your foot on the gas and let them know either you happy or you're not happy. And I think I speak for the Jaguar Nation right now. You are not happy. If you were in Pine Bluff and saw the fans that did show up, that were in the stands, and heard what they were saying, they were not happy. If you were at the FAMU game and saw the stands empty, that's the Jaguar Nation not empty. If you listen to Charles Edmond this morning and said, hey, it ain't what it used to be at Alcorn this morning, that's letting you know the people are not happy. So it's just frustration, but it's passion, it's love. I have no issues with none of those coaches at Southern University because at the end of the day, they doing the best that they can do. If it's enough, it's not. It is what it is. Once again, it's strictly business. It's nothing personal. But I do have an issue when somebody tries to paint me like I'm the one being negative, but when I'm the one reporting. I just have an issue of the way we go about doing business because clearly bad business has gotten us to this point. And buyouts and payouts with nothing in return. 2 SWAC Western Division titles, I appreciate that. But are y'all happy about that? Let's be honest. So if we're going to move forward, what is it that we want to move forward and how do we want to move forward? And I hear these names, but do you got time to wait on the guy to learn how to coach it? Do you want to go out and get a guy that's a proven winner, a proven program changer, and understands what this landscape, because this ain't what you think this is in terms of college football, of what we had in 2025 compared to just 5 years ago. It is a whole new landscape. You got to understand it, and you need to understand it to see why we at the place that we are today. All right, everybody, I hope you guys have a great week. I love y'all at the end of the day. I be yelling. I'm passionate. I love my Jaguars. I love y'all. Be safe on the road. As always, we'll be back at the same time, same place. As always, it's the Jaguar Journal. Have a good week. What's going on, everybody? I am Perry White. I'm the host of the Jaguar Journal. I want to make sure that you guys tune in live each and every Saturday morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on 107.3 FM. We also have our affiliates in Alexandria, Louisiana, as well as down in New Orleans. And if you're not able to catch us on radio live, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel as well as follow us on Facebook. It's the Jaguar Journal.